I couldn't get over the fact that there was no difference between Sylvia's restaurant and any other restaurant in New York City. I mean, it was exactly the same, even though it's run by blacks, primarily black patronship. There wasn't one person in Sylvia's who was screaming, MFer, I want more iced tea. You know, I mean, everybody was, it was like going into an Italian restaurant in an all-white suburb, in the sense of people were sitting there and they were ordering and having fun, and there wasn't any kind of craziness at all.
Bill O'Reilly assuring his radio audience that black people at black restaurants are not scary. Now, instead of just apologizing and putting this behind him, he's going on the attack, spinning the controversy as some sort of smear campaign by the media.
The tragedy here is that there is no longer an honest press in America. The CNN people didn't listen to the radio factor. They tried to get cheap ratings, and it backfired.
All right, my take, I have listened to his entire hour. He's saying that they are trying to get ratings, and he's doing the topic every night on his TV and radio shows. In fact, he devoted almost the entire hour of his show tonight to the issue. Why? For ratings. Tonight he had the gall to claim that media coverage of his comments is actually hurting African Americans. Please, it's true. O'Reilly was trying to decry racism when he made the comments. His intent was not bad. But in this case, his effort to do the right thing exposed him, or at least exposed how ignorant he seems to think his audience is. But most important now, he needs to stop blaming everyone else for his mess. He's now milking this story in an effort to play to those same people who he apparently believed would not know that you can go to an African-American restaurant and just have a nice meal. And he is playing out his own unfortunate statement for ratings. Radio talk show host John DePetro joins us, as well as Air America host Rachel Maddow and Republican strategist Joe Watkins. All right, John, look, you've been on the show and you've defended Bill O'Reilly before. Don't you wish that he would just be quiet and put this behind him?
No, Dan, I think he's doing the right thing. Number one, he's firing up his base of listeners. Polls show his listeners really weren't offended. And I think it is taken out of context.
I wouldn't think they would be, because basically what he was saying with those comments on the radio were, my listeners apparently think that going to a black restaurant, people are going to be yelling, MFer, get me my iced tea.
Dan, it goes beyond that. It was a discussion on race, and we're talking about Harlem. And by and large, I lived in New York for 8 years. White people don't go to Harlem. If Dan Abrams and John DePetro, Bill O'Reilly, some white guys were sitting around a table, and Dan Abrams said, yeah, I was up in Harlem last night, we would think you were either A, looking for drugs, or B, looking for a prostitute.
You know what?
It was a discussion
that is so
on
idiotic,
race.
John.
It is not idiotic, Dan.
I mean, it's idiotic, first of all, because you don't know about the rebirth of Harlem recently, first of all. And second of all, I mean, this is the problem.
How many white people were in the restaurant?
I wasn't there. But let me.
It's a primarily black restaurant. It is still a primarily black area.
We have 3 white people and one black person on this panel. And Joe Watkins.
That would be me.
Joe Watkins was with us talking about politics before. Joe Watkins, I'm now going to ask you about this race issue. You have been somewhat defensive of O'Reilly on this publicly.
Yeah,
but I've got to ask you.
Media Matters didn't do him right. I thought Media Matters.
All right, forget about Media Matters for a minute. Shouldn't he just shut up about this?
Well, I have to respect his business acumen. I mean, this is a very, very smart man.
He's playing it out for ratings, right?
He's doing very, very well in the ratings. I wish that I was smart enough to have ratings like that. Maybe I'd have my own show. But that's what you want in television. You want people to watch. And as long as there's controversy or something to talk about, then that's one way to get people to watch.
But he's making it sound, Joe, like he's doing. Let me let you listen to something he said on his radio program. This is number 7, where he's claiming why he's continuing to talk about this topic. Let's listen.
And I'm sorry if I'm boring some of you. I know you'd rather talk about, other items, but I can't get across to you how important this is and how my campaign to hold the corrupt media responsible is going to help your life. Because no longer will these smear merchants be allowed to get away with it.
He's doing it, Joe, because it's going to help your life. Right?
Does that mean I get my own show?
Yeah.
So I can be smeared on a regular basis?
I mean, come on. I mean, Rachel, that's the dishonesty here. Because, I mean, look, we've talked already about this issue of whether it was racist or not racist. I don't believe his intent was racist at all. But the bottom line is he's now accusing everyone else of doing it for ratings, and he is now milking this for ratings.
Right. And also he's accusing the liberal media of having created this controversy wholesale, as if somebody somebody put him up to saying the things that he said about Sylvia. But I have to say, Dan, I'm a little distracted. I wouldn't mind going back to hear more from John about how the only reason white people would go to Harlem is for prostitutes and drugs. I'm fascinated
I know
by
white
that.
people go to Harlem. I hope and pray that that's not the way white people think about
Rachel
Harlem.
Maddow.
Hang on one second.
With the
Hang on, wait.
condescending
Let me
East Village.
let me let
Rachel,
John. I'm going to let you go, and then I'm going to hear from Joe. Go ahead, John.
Here's the Air America host who hates Bill O'Reilly, who would love to take him down, pretending that it wasn't taken out of context. Miss East Village, there is no way. Stop acting. You know what the discussion was on. It was on race, and there is a competitive nature to CNN and other liberal outlets. Forget CNN. People like you trying to take him down, and you can't deny that. You'd like to see him knocked off the air.
John, I have to tell you, the difference between love is not the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. I am indifferent to Bill O'Reilly. I don't watch his show. I don't particularly care. I do want to hear more from you.
Air America has had a campaign against him.
Listen,
you're Al Franken without glasses.
All right, but I don't want to have a debate. I don't want to have a debate about Rachel's radio.
I want to know more about the hookers.
Yeah. All right, but Joe, you wanted to make a comment about John's comments about
Sure
Harlem.
you do.
Well, John, I just wanted to say that I hope and pray that white people go to Harlem because it's a great place to live for Americans, Americans who happen to be black and other. And I hope that the only reason. Yeah, John?
It's still predominantly a black area.
It's a wonderful.
In the restaurant, Bill O'Reilly described that he was the only white person there.
Yeah, I know that he was. But it's a great place to live for Americans who happen to be African American and other. There are a lot of white people that live in Harlem as well. It's a great place to experience a great rebirth.
Maybe the condescending liberal elite like the Air America crowd should think of moving there and out of the East Village.
Well, I think that's where Bill Clinton took his office, right?
John, it's like you're playing a character of yourself. This is fair. You are God's gift.
But let me get back to the issue. Even John DePetro, you would agree with me that it is disingenuous of O'Reilly to claim that he is doing this because he wants to hold the corrupt media responsible to help your life, meaning the individuals out there, the folks. He's doing it to help their lives. John, you would agree with me that is totally disingenuous.
I hate to admit it. Yes, I would agree with you.
That's how I want to. Yeah, all right.
But I think he's doing the right thing by going after people that are attacking him and firing up his base. And he continues his. Dan, it's his campaign of I'm looking out for him.
That's fine. He can do what he wants. I'm just saying, don't be disingenuous about what you're doing here. Don't claim that this is about some sort of effort to protect the folks against the corrupt media. He's defending himself. He said something he shouldn't have said. He's defending himself. It's not the end of the world. He wasn't intending to be racist, but he shouldn't have said it. It was a dumb thing to say. Just say that. All right, I got to wrap up.
Dan, I think some of the CNN crowd thought this was a Don Imus type moment, and it's not.
All right. But John DePetro, Joe Watkins, Rachel Maddow. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you, Dan.